So where we left off was uh, we were I was asking you about when a woman's looking for a lawyer and it's a high conflict divorce. What are some of the things that as a divorce coach you help a woman with? Because I think a lot of women, they think, "Oh, I've got this great lawyer. I'm going to tell them all my problems," and like you said, and then it just kind of blows up because the lawyer's like, well, first of all, a lawyer is an agent to the state. You're paying them to be an agent. So I think people don't even understand the relationship that you have with the lawyer.
Yeah, and that has a whole direction all in its own is what the attorney is there for. They're there to protect you legally and to guide you through the legal laws and the rules that a court has to do. I know that you disappeared off the last screen and I kind of went through just right there and kind of explained a little bit about the differences of the lawyers, but when you are hunting for a lawyer, your lawyer is there to protect you, but your lawyer is also there to make money on you. And so you want to make sure that you're doing your due diligence on your side, which means that all of your paperwork and all of the information that you're going to be providing your attorney is together. That saves the lawyer from having to do it on their side. So that's several $1,000s worth of work right there that you can do on your own. But it's almost impossible to do when you're underneath the distress of going through the divorce. That's where a divorce coach can come in and we can help you. With a lot of my clients, we just sit here and they say, okay, I've got this. And then they'll just go through and I'll just sit here taking notes or just being present for them while they're gathering all their papers because it's so difficult for them to do all of that stuff during the time that they're underneath all that distress.
Oh, for sure. And I can just think of, I didn't have a divorce coach, unfortunately. I didn't even know that they existed when I was going through my divorce. And I just remember like being drowning in paperwork and what was relevant to the lawyer versus what I felt was the issue was a completely different, I mean, it was like two different worlds, right?
Yes. And so we see this especially when especially when when the woman has been abused in any form. It doesn't have to be physical. If there's physical abuse, there's always mental abuse. So the mental abuse of everything, we finally get to where we're starting to feel some strength. We're starting to feel that our feet are underneath us and giving us some strength. And so now we think that we need to provide all of this information to the attorney, and not just this information, but all of this information. And one, that's costing you lots of money. And two, the lawyer can't use all that information. He can't use any of the distress. All he can use is what you actually have physical proof of that took place. You can say anything you want to, they'll sit there and listen, but that's just because they're getting paid to sit there and listen to all of that stuff. If you have physical proof, then you tell the attorney. If not, you tell your divorce coach everything else, and the divorce coach goes, "Oh, that's something that your attorney needs to know."
And even how you present it to the attorney really matters too,
It
I
does,
think,
definitely.
because
It
you come with all these problems and they're just I mean, some of them don't, they're going to listen to you obviously because the clock is ticking, but
right, right.
but it doesn't help your case at all.
No, it doesn't help. They don't need to hear the distress that the other person has caused. Again, by telling them that they're the most expensive therapy that you can pay for, and they have no feedback for you to help you. So you're paying without getting therapy. And they're not able to use that information to help you in the legal situation, especially if you go into the courtroom. I mean, yeah, they know you were going through distress, but they charged you $5,000 to listen to that distress, but now can't use any of it.
Yeah, and another thing with high conflict divorce, I think, is having a witness. Like, I mean, if it's your word against his word, it's nothing. It's canceled out completely.
Right, right. And that's a fact. Your word against their word is always, it's a null and void situation. And so witnesses, I tell my clients, document everything. Document every fight, everything. But when you document, you want to be as specific as possible. This happened in the living room, not in the house. It happened in the living room when the kids were standing there watching. And I have a picture of what he threw at the television. You want to get as much physical proof as possible. Writing it down helps. It's not really physical proof, but it might be able to tie to some other physical proof. You want pictures of the things like the broken television or whatever that might be. This happened. You want to put the time, the date, like I said, the location, the people involved, what was said, what the outcome was. You want all of that in a diary or in your divorce diary. And then you want to make sure that you protect that stuff. You can't keep all the pictures on your phone. So I suggest to my clients that you email them to a special email that you've created just to keep stuff. It's called a protection mail, 123 protection mail. Or if it was for you, we'd say crystals protectionmail@gmail.com. And then the only thing that gets mailed to that is all of the proof and stuff that you're putting together, because then it's all in one place without any other stuff, and it's protected. They can't get into your Gmail account if it's a brand new one that you set up. So it's protected. Always keep it in at least two places. And you want to be protecting everything. Anything that you've written on should not be left in the house. It should be in a special place that they can't get to. Your computer, anything that you're keeping stuff on, should be removed so that they can't get to it.
And then I guess the other thing is like when there's children involved, can you maybe speak more to that? Like helping women that are, dealing with, maybe she got out of the divorce, but then her kids are still in it.
Mm.
Like,
And that's a really, really hard situation, is to co-parent with this person. If the person that you left is not violent and they're not abusive, then just give it time and things will start to iron themselves out. But on your side, make sure that the kids know that you love them and you'll listen to anything, but don't throw the other parent under the bus, because eventually those kids grow up and they will remember everything that happened. And I actually was an adult when my parents divorced, but my siblings and I talk about that because I was the oldest, and we talk about what happened and then what our outcome and what we actually see from our parents as of today, which is almost the opposite of what we saw from the parents back then. So if the kids are in there, just make sure that you are kind, gentle, loving, and patient with them. They're going through a lot. There's a bunch of great books that are out there that can help you as you start the co-parenting journey. And I recommend that you look those up and figure out which one's best. Some are for younger kids, some are for teenagers, but there's some great books that are out there that have helped my clients a ton.
and then another thing I think that a lot of women go through is when when they go through the divorce, then the other parent is then starting to date and you start dating. And so there's someone new that comes into the child's life. And then also, you know, you don't know that person yet. So maybe you could talk a little bit more about that.
So there's all kinds of things that you need to think about before you get divorced on this topic. And you can get these put in your permanent orders, and these can be there to protect the kids. Like how long should you date before they introduce the child to the new person, and then how long before they've known the new person should that person stay overnight. These are types of things that are really important, and moms really struggle when the dad starts to date and they don't know anything about that. But if you get these rules, and talking with your attorney is a really good a divorce coach can also help here, but to ask the type of verbiage that's normally put in to permanent orders that can help protect those kids. And coming up with that information way early, I mean, you can even do research on Google about that, and coming up with that verbiage before the divorce is ever final. And then, so we as mom, we start to date, and I have a few clients right now that are in that process. They've moved on and now they're starting to date, and they want to know what's appropriate. And so most all moms say that it should be 3 to 6 months of dating the individual before they even introduce them to the children. And then the introduction to the children should be short, and then they communicate together, but never spending the night. And a lot of the moms that I work with, they say that they feel that it's best that their new significant other doesn't spend the night until it becomes a permanent situation where they know that they're going to start that process of moving in and getting married. So that is something that the mom, and I say that because moms are a little bit more picky about that than the dads are. The mom really needs to think about this before the divorce is final so that they can kind of have an idea of what's going to move forward in their life and what they want in those permanent orders.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking of like some of the circumstances that I've run into with other women where, all of a sudden the girlfriend shows up at the doctor's appointment, or, you know, she's at the dentist, or, like it's one thing if it's at a sporting event, it's another when it's, a private
Private.
physical, medical appointment.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just like something I'm just, thinking ahead for some of our viewers, like
Mm-hmm.
something you want to think about in protecting your kids is having that that language. And then
Yes.
also when it's violated, what do they do? Like, what is their recourse?
Yes. Well, and through all of that, if you have it in your permanent orders, you are protected and can take legal realms. You can step into that realm and start working from it from the legal side. If it is not in your permanent orders, it's going to be very difficult to work forward with this, but you can communicate. If you can't communicate with your soon to be ex or ex at the time, then you need to communicate this over with your attorney. And I'm going to step back with that, and I'm going to say, document everything, what the child says, everything. But you can't, not all dads are going to make bad choices. But many moms will think dads are going to make bad choices. And those moms can set a ball in motion for the dad to make bad choices. And so we want to make sure that we are handling this appropriately and slowly and thinking the process through. Because if we instigate something from the other side, it will just explode. And the ones that get hurt are the children. So if you think forward, like these are great topics, Crystal, where you're talking about what if this woman shows up at your son's doctor's appointment. And so if you think about those types of things, then they can be added to your divorce decree. Now you can, with all of the information that you get from the child, the parenting plan, you can go back after the fact and get some changes made. But everybody says, attorneys say this all the time, oh, it's no big deal, we'll just go back in later. Well, yeah, because they get paid more. It's best to get it taken care of right now. Don't let that attorney tell you, no, we're going to wait because it'll be cheaper. It won't be cheaper. You get it.
Yeah, and another thing I was going to say is just like another like protective motion is like the co-parenting plan. So could you maybe talk about, like if someone's going to get a divorce coach, they're probably looking to get a whole team of people, not just the attorney. Like you need therapy, you need a divorce coach, and you probably need a co-parenting counselor of some sort. So could you maybe talk about like how you can help someone pick one. Okay. And I'm just thinking of like my own divorce. I had a team. I didn't have a divorce coach. I wish I did. It probably would have saved me like $70,000 in legal. But yeah, just the price for your mental your mental well-being is beyond the dollars that you pay. Yeah, and I can also think of like setting up the case to give it to the lawyer is a big deal. Like knowing what the lawyer needs in order to move forward and the right evidence, and it needs to be organized in the right way so that they can do what they need to do, right? I mean, that's like I'm just thinking of like in my own issues, I had it by exhibits and then by the type of evidence. So, like, video would be the more prioritized evidence as compared to, he said, she said, or, like a police report or something. Yeah, and that's a whole different rabbit hole, right? Could you talk a little bit more about your background in law enforcement and like how you're able to translate between client and law enforcement? Like, what's your experience? Yeah, it's all about setting up the case and then having the evidence. That's your only protection. And then the witnesses is the big thing too. And for the most part, they're going to point to their evidence, which is their report, right? So it's so important if you're in a domestic abuse situation where the cops are involved, where you're getting everything documented because that's your witness. Sometimes the charges don't go through, and again, you you have to keep up and stay consistent. I mean, that's kind of the big thing, and sometimes it's years. I mean, I know for me, the divorce started back in 2018, but it's still it still went on 6 and 7 years. It was a high conflict divorce 6 and 7 years later. So it's so important to get a divorce coach, number one. Number two, protect your sanity. And number three, document, 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 right? Yeah. And then after you go through all that, then there's the healing process. It feels like, and it seems like it seems like it's like a lifetime of going through different therapy to get to a point where, hey, not all people are bad. Number two, maybe I will have a relationship someday, and I think you can speak to that too, like moving on from that situation and the healing. I mean, that's the ultimate goal at the end of the day, because that affects your children, yourself, and your previous relationship, or what's left of it. Yeah, it definitely affects everything in your life. It's relationships, career, finances. I mean, as you're going through this, you can't ask for enough help. I can't stress that enough in my own experience. Well, I think that this I would love to have you on again, and I think if there's anything else, I'm certainly going to put just your information in the description box below so that anyone can contact you. Is there anything else you'd like to tell my viewers before we, close it out? That's beautiful. Thank you so much for coming on, and I would love to have you on again. Yeah, this is Tina Huggins with Tao of the Heart. Yeah, have a great day, everyone.